Chelsea 0, Leicester 1. Chelsea's first home defeat of the season and Leicester's first win at Stamford Bridge in 18 years. An extremely frustrating game as we hit the woodwork twice. What a good Leicester goal threw Chelsea into complete turmoil that the Blues could never fully recover from. To find out everything about the game as it happened, make sure you watch all of this review. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my review of the Chelsea 0, Leicester 1 game, and well, that is quite possibly the worst Christmas present the club could have got us. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't great at all. Now my light is flickering, so, you know, it's just not going well today. Of course, this is the review. There will be fan cams, there will be a vlog, there will be all sorts of content. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, then make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also, let's see whether we can hit 400. Actually, no, let's make it 500. Let's make me a bit happier. When Chelsea lost, let's at least make me a bit happier that way. Make sure, let's see whether we can hit 500 likes. That'd be massively appreciated. So make sure you smash that like button down below. But now getting into the review and starting off with the lineup, and I did get that right. You know, it was the 4-3-3 with Eden Hazard up front. It was Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. A back four of Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso. Then the two centre-backs being Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz. A midfield three of Jorginho, N'Golo Kanté and Mateo Kovacic. And then a front three of Willian on the left, Pedro on the right, and Hazard down the middle. With, as you'd expect, a lot of interchanging between the front three. Now, the first 10 minutes already, you know, were already a strong indicator as to what kind of game we were looking at here. You know, to put it into some perspective, as soon as we entered the final third, Leicester had all of their 11 players within a maximum of 35 yards from their goal. You know, I think that says it enough. I mean, they tried to cover and block off every tiniest amount of space that we could have used to create an opening. And they did so very well, you know. And then, of course, they tried to use the pace of, you know, specifically Jamie Vardy to hit us on a counter. Although, for, you know, the majority of the game, not exactly successfully. Like, we had all of the ball, over 70% of it. But except for a misunderstanding between the Leicester defence and Kasper Schmeichel, in goal, following a long ball by David Luiz that Willian almost got the end of, basically in the first minute or second minute, whatever it was. We didn't create anything dangerous for a good while of the game. Until the 17th minute, when we got so close to taking the lead from a corner, and it looked like a well-studied corner routine from the training pitch. Willian fizzed his delivery towards the near post, but Pedro simply flicked it on towards the far post with his head, where David Luiz, well inside the 6-yard box, basically flew into the header but missed the ball by what looked like less than an inch. And, you know, like I said, missed the ball and, you know, didn't score, but would certainly have been the goal if we did connect with it. If you watch my videos regularly, you'll know that usually when we don't create anything, I tend to criticize our lack of movement and slow passing, and there was that to a certain extent. But Leicester just sat so deep and defended well as well, to be fair. You know, that it looked pretty much near and impossible to create anything from open play. The only thing that I would say is that I felt we were missing someone big and strong, basically. Not necessarily as a striker up front, because they would just be, you know, crowded by Maguire and, you know, Wes Morgan, which wouldn't have made much of a difference then. But more on the wing or in midfield. You know, looking at Loftus-Cheek here in particular, someone capable of driving past players with the ball at his feet, you know, and if need be, simply by shoving other players out of the way, which obviously someone like Kovacic isn't capable of, but Loftus-Cheek sure is. Or just giving us an option to play a high cross into the box as well that at least would have someone to try and get on the end of. With just over half an hour gone, we finally did create something, as I think it was Pedro found Hazard inside the box. The Belgian then turned Harry Maguire, who was a bit too eager there to nick the ball from Hazard. And then the Belgian just found himself in front of Kasper Schmeichel from a bit of an awkward angle, I have to say. But, you know, still, he went for goal, but smashed it right against the bar. Usually he scores that, and to be honest, he should have scored that. Like, Hazard should have done better there. After that chance, for a little while, we looked a bit closer to finally breaking that deadlock. But again, still not really creating much. Not really creating anything. The next big chance of the first half of the game was the actual first shot on target in that game. Because, you know, obviously Hazard hitting the bar isn't hitting the target. It fell to Leicester when Wilfried Ndidi struck a loose ball from almost 30 yards. Around 30 yards, I'd say. You know, hit it really well. But Kepa pulled off an incredible, you know, save. And, you know, did really well to keep that one out. And then from the following Leicester corner, we started a very good counter-attack, all created by a mazy run by Hazard, just outside our own half. Then he played it to Kanté. We broke as a team with 4, maybe 5 players. The ball then ended up at Willian's feet inside the box, down the left-hand side. And he was in quite a bit of space, but then his shot was just horrendous and, you know, basically rolled it into the arms of, you know, Schmeichel, which was very, very frustrating. And then in the last minute of the first half, we finally had our first actual shot on target when Jorginho took a clearing header on the volley from around 25 yards or so, but it ended up being, you know, pretty straightforward save for Leicester's keeper. And that was then half-time at 0-0. And, you know, the chances came towards the end of the half, but I still didn't have much to criticise of that first half. Leicester just did well and made it very difficult. The only thing I'd say, along with needing Ruben Loftus-Cheek, like I said already, on the pitch, was a lack of shots from outside the box. Like, it's just what you have to do when your opponent sits so deep and you struggle to break them down. Shoot. Either score a screamer, get a lucky deflection goal, or at least get a few corners out of it. Like, except the Hazard one, our biggest chance was when Luiz almost scored from the corner. So, a few corners, and generally throughout the game were pretty threatening from some of the corners at least. So, try to get some of those corners. You're not going to if you never shoot. But then instead of significantly improving in the second half, Leicester came out the tunnel with a lot more intensity. Looked like they surprised us with that a little bit. And not just that, they also made it 1-0 6 minutes into the second half. And it all started by Pedro being dispossessed on the left wing. Then their right back Pereira going past 3 of our players, past Kovacic, past Jorginho, and obviously past Pedro. And then laid it to Maddison. Rudiger came out to close Maddison down, but Maddison instead nutmegged the German to play to Vardy exactly where Rudiger would have been had he not come out to close down Maddison. And then Vardy just, struck from close distance past Kepa and made it 1-0. And, at the time, that goal did give us a bit of a kick up the backside and we tried to go for goal a bit more, but nothing that actually threatened the Leicester keeper. We had a few shots, but they were pretty easy saves. Until Hazard was played through by Kovacic and went for goal from a very tight angle, but the Belgian pulled off a great effort actually towards the near post, and it needed an incredibly strong hand and good save by Schmeichel to keep it out, and that's exactly what Schmeichel provided, and it, remained at 1-0. And then basically on the hour mark, Loftus-Cheek came on for Kovacic, while Willian was replaced by Olivier Giroud. And, I just said, he gave us a bit of a kick up the arse, and he did, but it also made our decision-making so much more rash. Like, we lost all of our calmness. Like, we started to give the ball away so easily, and we went back to what we've been doing for almost the entire season. When we received the first blow of a game, we threw it all down the drain. Like, everything. Every plan we have, every plan that the manager is telling the player, right, that's what you have to do, we throw it all down the bin. We throw it all in the bin and we do nothing of it. Like, we just look like amateurs until we finally collect ourselves again. We looked like amateurs for a good 15-20 minutes there after, not after they scored, but after substitutions mainly. Because Leicester and Jamie Vardy, they nearly made it 2-0. A low cross was fizzed into the 6-yard box. Kepa went down for it and got there, but the ball just had too much pace on it for him to keep a hold of. And then it kind of fell to Jamie Vardy, who was forced to try and score with a back heel, but thankfully Azpilicueta, put in a great block to keep it out. And to be honest, quite frankly, after substitutions, like I just said, Leicester just had us on the ropes. Like, they had us on the ropes completely. Like, until we found our feet again, a bit more with around 20 minutes to play. But we were just inviting Leicester to score. Like, we were doing everything wrong. Like, the gaps between the players increased so much. And obviously then it's impossible to play any sort of passing football. So that's the thing. We kind of somewhat revert back to what we've been doing on the Conte. But then they still remember the general idea of Sarri. But then because there's such big gaps between them, the passing doesn't work, and then we just invite the opponent. We just ask them, like, do you want to score another goal? Like, that's basically what we're doing. It's so frustrating because we do it in almost every game when we, receive some sort of blow. Like, it's really frustrating. With 50 minutes to go, then we made our last substitution. It was a bit of an interesting one as Fabregas came on for Jorginho. And, I actually thought, especially in the first half, Jorginho was quite good, especially defensively, and dictating the game well. But Fabregas, when he came on, did have kind of an immediate impact, an immediate effect as well, getting us into that danger area a lot more with his over-the-top balls, mostly those over-the-top balls to Olivier Giroud. But Leicester just set so deep that, one example, when Giroud kind of received one of those long balls and headed it back into the feet of Hazard, inside the box, Hazard was surrounded by what looked like 5 or 6 opponents. Not just looked like, it was 5 or 6 opponents. And obviously, if you're surrounded by 5 or 6 opponents inside, the box, you're not going to be able to get a significant shot away. And he didn't. And then for the final periods of the game, while Leicester reverted to simply seeing, the game out, and we had all of the ball, there was just such a ridiculous lack of movement. Like, I don't know what we were doing, in the end. I can't remember what game. It was the Wolves when I said I had absolutely no confidence that we were going to turn this around. And it was similar today. I had no confidence, zero, that we were going to turn it around after going 1-0 down. I was kind of maybe hoping for a draw, but I was never confident that we'd turn it around and get the full 3 points after going to goal down. Even though at the time there was, almost 40 minutes to play still. So, it was ridiculous. But I say that, in the last few minutes, we actually did still get the equalisers. First, Rudiger from, a corner was almost on target with a minute to play, but just about didn't get enough on the ball and put it wide off the far post. And then in injury time, Marcos Alonso somehow ended up inside the box, 1-on-1 with the keeper after the best chance we created from open play. Good passing football for once in that game. But instead of equalising, Marcos Alonso hit the post and it went out from there. He hit the inside of the post and it kind of went across the box, but then Leicester picked it up. And it was the 5th time the Spaniard hit the Woodwork this season. He's not exactly getting lucky. And that was then full time at, 1-0 to Leicester. And to be honest, for me, I like him. I like his style of football. I like his ideas. But Sarri got it wrong today, in my opinion. Not because, okay, he started Willian. No, that's not what he got wrong today. Not by, starting David Luiz or not starting Callum Hudson-Odoi. No, that's not what he got wrong today. But when we had the composure and the passing, but lacked some power in the first half, that's when we needed Loftus-Cheek. And I say it now, in my opinion, when Eden Hazard starts up front, Kovacic cannot start in midfield next to Jorginho and Kante. That just doesn't work. We just have no one over 5'8" or something, except Alonso. Like, no one is tall then. You can't do that. And no one is not just not tall, but also not strong. Like, you need at least some of it. I'm not saying it needs to be the striker, but it needs to be someone. Like, if you look at the Napoli side, Hamsik is at least a somewhat tall player and strong player. So at least you have someone like that there. And then in the second half, after we conceded, that's when we needed Kovacic, not Loftus-Cheek, because we needed Kovacic's calmness on the ball. Loftus-Cheek is pretty good in it, but he's more like someone that drives the ball. And when the gaps of the players, increase, he finds it a lot more difficult when he drives the ball to then still find a teammate to pass it to. That's when we needed Kovacic's calmness. Because if we had that calmness, maybe the gaps wouldn't have increased all that much. Because, we would have, like I said, been a bit calmer. And Olivier Giroud was, as ever, completely useless. Like, the second he was on the pitch, Hazard didn't see a single ball in any sort of useful area. People tell me, Giroud has to be down the mid and Hazard has to be on the left, so he sees more of the ball, and then they can use Giroud's incredible link-up play that just doesn't exist, hasn't existed for 3 months now, and it just didn't happen. Like, Giroud had that one header that he headed it back to Hazard inside the box where he was surrounded by so many people that couldn't do anything with it, but Hazard was just out of the game completely, basically, after Giroud came on. Out of the game completely, and Pedro, by the way, was also horrible. Like, a lot worse than William was today. William was decent. Yes, he missed that chance at the first half, but he should have done a lot better. From the corner late on when he basically rolled it into Schmeichel's arms. But at least he had a chance to score. Pedro didn't have a single chance to score. And, especially at the start of the second half after we conceded, Pedro was all over the place. He gave the ball away so many times, also in the build up to that goal. So that was very frustrating. The whole game was just so frustrating. But it's not something... Like, in the first half, Leicester just did well, to be honest. And we just didn't find, the lock pick to find the deadlock, to break the deadlock, whatever I'm saying. I'm all over the place now. I'm frustrated. It was a game of two halves, to be honest. And we needed completely different things in each half. Because in the first half, we had all of the ball and we just needed to somehow break Leicester down. And then in the second half, at least at the start, they were a lot more intense and we couldn't deal with that. And then, they scored, and then it was kind of back to similar to what in the first half, but we lost the plot completely, so the passing wasn't there anymore. So we needed different things in each half, but we always had the wrong things on the pitch kind of thing. And, it's very frustrating and definitely not helping our chase for top 4. But as ever, like I said, as ever, it's upwards and onwards, and, we go again Boxing Day. But, of course, this is the last video by myself, at least, before Christmas. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, or just, Happy Holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas. And, I'll see you for the Watford preview on Christmas Day, because, the grind really is real. But yeah, leave me all of your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Did anyone who disappointed you the most? Did anyone impress you? All of those thoughts down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning, make my Christmas a little bit better, make my day a little bit better. Let's see when I can hit 500 or more likes in this video. Make sure you smash the like button down below. Don't forget to check out my social media, which is Laos1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here, and also the links to both of them are down in the description below. So if you could follow me over there, I'd absolutely love you for it. And of course, this is YouTube, so if you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of the future videos. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, upwards and onwards, and I'll see you next time.